Welcome everyone to this episode of the Palmetto Guardian. I'm Sergeant Chelsea Baker.
And I'm Specialist David Erskine, and we have some special guests with us here today, and we're going to be talking fitness, folks. That's right. We're headed towards the end of the summertime, headed into the fall. We got the ACFT popping up around October, and we have two gentlemen that have joined us today to talk to us a little about fitness, whether it be eating, how to get healthy, programs that are out there for M-Day soldiers, maybe if you don't have time to come up here and exercise, community stuff that you can get involved in. So, gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you introduce yourselves, and we'll move on with the conversation.
Hey, my name is Darryl Hammond. I'm the lead health and wellness coach for the South Carolina National Guard.
I'm Stephen Moore. I'm the first sergeant over Joint Force Headquarters.
All right. Well, here we go. Now, Mr. Hammond, not everybody may know what the structure, purpose, or intent is of the health and wellness section, especially being, I guess, ran and organized by civilian. A lot of times for military people, when we start talking exercise, we, think of the uniform attached to it. So what's some benefits and what do y'all bring to the table for the soldiers and the airmen and their family?
So that's a great question. So we have 7 coaches across the state. Each congressional district, each one-stop shop has a health and wellness coach affiliated with them. We provide services at no charge. We manage those. Our focus is on those that have failed the APFT or the ABCP for body weight, but we also take care of those family members or retirees. We also take care of those that want to just get better. Maybe they've plateaued someplace and want to find another metric or opportunity to train. So we provide free service to them as well. We have we're flexible. Again, it's at no cost to anyone who wants to participate. We can typically meet anyone out there at a local gym. Of course, it's a little strange now because of COVID and when we can get into and how that works out. We can meet you at a local park. We can meet you at the local armory. We have flexibility enough so that if you drill in Spartanburg but live in Columbia, you may work out with me because you live here, or vice versa. If you just want to work out with a coach in Spartanburg, we can connect you with them as well. So it's a statewide program. If you're downrange someplace, we have an app called Train Heroic, which is free to any service member to log into. We can train them across the state. We can train them across the country. We can train them when you're downrange. So there's not lots of opportunities out there for us to reach out and be a part of this process. We like to provide a physical presence for service members that are out there, let them know there are options they can do. We encourage service members to reach into their units first as a part of this process. Maybe there's a master fitness trainer associated with them. Maybe they've got a local member of their organization that is a fitness instructor someplace locally they can use. That's fantastic. But an option we provide is a flexibility for us to meet you someplace. It takes a phone call, an appointment, and a discussion about what your expectations are, what your needs are, and we can tie back into that to give you a flexible program that meets your needs.
That's a lot to do.
Wow.
Yeah, and you mentioned COVID, and then you kind of halfway started answering the question for me. You mentioned like fitness and going to the gyms and stuff with the COVID pandemic that's going on. It's been kind of tough, but y'all mentioned the app that y'all have where you can train people from anywhere, which kind of, whether that was done at the response to this or that was something that was already in place before the COVID came around. I mean, that kind of answers the question a little bit of how y'all are able to reach out and interact with these people.
Yeah, so the app's been around for about 9 months or so. It's again, it provides, and when COVID came around, it became a very great platform for us to be able to continue to train soldiers, our family members, retirees, no matter where they were. We can, again, the app is free. The most important part about the app is if you want to download the Train Heroic app, you've got to reach out to your local coach and let them know you're on the app, because we don't get a notice saying, ta-da, Darryl Hammond is now on the app.
Right.
So you've got to contact us. And what that does for us allows us to give you an evaluation. What are you looking for? Are you someone who's flagged? Are you just someone, a performance athlete who wants to just get better? And so it gives us a chance to have a discussion about what your needs are, what your restrictions are, what your profiles are, and what your goals are. Maybe it's just to run a little faster. Maybe it's to do more push-ups. Maybe it's to tie specifically into the ACFT. And that gives us a chance for us to take a look at a program we can design specifically for you. But if you want 4 or 5 members of your unit to be a part of a team, we can make a team at the size of 4 or 5 people. We can use your whole unit as an organization and give you all the same workouts along the way. So the app is very flexible. It's free to use out there. It doesn't cost you a dime to be there. You don't have to have Wi-Fi when you go. If you're out in the woods someplace and you're going to do a workout, you'll need to have Wi-Fi. Once the workout is downloaded, you just open the app, do the workout, install what you've done inside of there. When you get back to Wi-Fi, it uploads the information. And again, with flexibility, if you get out there and the workout shows you're doing 3 different sets, 3 different push-ups, but you don't want to do 3 sets of push-ups. You want to do something else. Well, you just click a button. It says change the exercise. You pick sit-ups instead of push-ups. You push another button. It uploads sit-ups instead of push-ups. So it's very flexible. We don't want you to do that very often, though.
Right.
But if you're struggling, if you're having a hard time doing those, then fine. You just change the exercise to what works out for you, and then we'll take a look at your workouts after you finish them.
Yeah, you might be a little sore that day, so it's better to do sit-ups than not to do anything at all.
Or hurt, or maybe you've got you're tight inside there. Maybe you've got the weather is such you can't do a running cycle we have for you. So you just simply change it and move on.
Now,
awesome.
First Sergeant, I'm going to kind of jump over to you real quick because I think one of the biggest things you deal with is M-Day folks. You know,
Sure.
full-time staff here, whatever,
Roger.
do our thing. But you're dealing with M-Day soldiers. They're out there, you know, working another full-time job. Their families and whatever else that they may be dealing with. What type of advice or information you have as far as fitness or some of the stuff that you do to help keep motivated? It's easy when you're around other military folks, right?
Right.
Because
right.
we'll say, hey, you need to get up and go do something.
Yes.
But when you're at home and you're tired, you've already put in 50, 60 hours a week, you're cooking, you got a screaming youngin' on your hip.
Absolutely.
And it's like, all I want to do is see that couch
Right.
and a bowl of ice cream.
Yes. Yeah. No. And I totally understand.
Have you been to my house? That's fantastic.
I totally understand. And coming up, I saw how it affected the M-Day soldiers the most as a platoon sergeant. And we had a high failure rate within the platoon, and I tried everything. Weekly call-ins by the team leaders to the people struggling with the PT events, fitness apps, and us getting on and tracking their activity on a daily basis. Anything from Fitbits to Facebook and those platforms to track and just maintain accountability of the soldiers. And it's hard. I mean, we would definitely PT to excess 1 week in a month and 2 weeks a year, but that's not going to help you achieve your fitness goals. And I think it comes back down to leadership accountability. Reaching out to your soldiers, finding their and offering up different options available to them, such as the wellness program, such as discounted rates to gyms in your area, different people in your area, a network or a social group or somebody that can help you maintain that accountability. Because I found that, like you said, these guys, M-Day soldiers work nights, work in construction or heavy labor intensive jobs. And the last thing we want to do is do PT in the evenings. But they have to maintain that standard. And with the ACFT coming up, a lot of people have been saying, well, I don't have that equipment available to me. And that's the number one thing I've heard. Hey, the PRT app is out there. It's been out there for years. And the PRT app is now morphed into the ACFT app of record, if you will. And it has a plethora of different exercises that no equipment needed, but you work on that muscle group or that area that would develop that specific part of the ACFT. So whether it be water jugs or all kind of different alternate events to where it will help you increase your performance in those different events. And something's important to me, and I've been doing it for 5 years, is a program called F3, and it stands for Fitness, Fellowship, and Faith. It was started in North Carolina. About in 2011 in Charlotte, and the guy that started it used to be a Ranger, used to be in the Army, and so a bunch of the lingo, the exercises, all are based on military type. So the M-Day soldiers or whoever, the AGR or the technicians or any type of the airmen that go to this, they automatically feel comfortable. They automatically feel that the comfortability of the lingo, instead of jumping jacks, they call it, what we call it. So they're seeing that, and then they're actually automatically feeling comfortable. So the mission of the program is to plant, grow, and serve small workout groups for men for the invigoration of the male community leadership. Now, there is a female option. It's called FIA, and it's the almost the exact same thing for females. Both are restricted because they both have specific goals in mind for that gender. And so I'll tell you, I was in F3. I've always been a good workout guy, but I have never been a great APFTer. I mean, I work out. I love to run. I'm just not fast. I mean, I've never been fast. I've never reached that point in APFT. I worked out with F3 for a year and a half, and my platoon leader at the time, Captain Joey Varon, lived in Charleston, and he kept talking about F3, and I'm like, sir, I'm too busy. I got enough going on. I've got my own workout plan. Don't worry about it. I'm passing my PT test. Finally, one morning of drill, he forced me and my two squad leaders to go at River Bluff High School in Lexington. And after that day, they say in F3, you're drinking the Kool-Aid. You're drinking, and it's so much more than a workout group. And not only does it develop your body, but it also develops your mind and develops you spiritually, being a better leader. And it's all in line with what the Army speaks. We speak the same thing of body, mind, and soul, and being fit in all those areas. So I could talk about F3 for a long time, but I just wanted to, when I say it so much more, our motto is leave no man behind, but leave no man where you found them. Iron sharpens iron. And it goes into being a leader in your community. And, the guys in F3 and FIA, and I live in Lexington, so I'm more familiar with that area, but these groups are everywhere: Lexington, Columbia, Greenwood, Batesburg, Gilbert, Red Bank, Sumter, Charleston, Hilton Head, Rock Hill, Saluda, and I've left out a bunch. And if you go to F3 Nation and you pick your region, you figure it out, and then it's a 45 to 60 minute boot camp. Days are specific to the workout area that you go to. The biggest and the hardest part that I found for me personally is waking up at 4:40 in the morning to be there. So they are early.
That's about the time I go to bed. So yeah, super hard for me.
And it's rough. That's the hardest part to me is to coordinate the night before so I can get enough sleep to get up. And all that fits into their mindset of you starting the day invigorated and building camaraderie with brothers, just like we do in the military. A lot of similarities. So not only do they offer boot camp workouts, but they also offer run groups. They meet and you run an hour, and they never leave a runner behind. Kettlebell workouts, just anything that you can imagine on any day of the week from Monday basically through Saturday. They have some type of workout that you can show up and you can be there, and you're always welcome. It starts with a circle of trust. They give you a nickname. And the one thing that I started this conversation with is they have accountability. They use Twitter and your nickname, and all the workouts are loaded onto their website, so you can read and track a structured workout plan and making sure each location is doing their job. And you can join Twitter and communicate with those in your group. So a private DM type community within the group, and sharing, what guys and girls like to share as far as the workout goes, and problems with families, and hey, I know a person that's in need, or let's make a dinner for a sick family, especially during this COVID process. So they also have runner safety. They do a 24/7 run for entire week in Lexington to raise awareness for runner safety. We've had several people be struck and killed by automobiles in the last several years. So we do that along with the town and other entities. F3 started a youth mentorship program in Lexington. We go to elementary schools, middle schools, work with the guidance counselors, and they help assign a mentor through F3 to meet with at-risk youth twice a week, depending on your schedule, and you follow that kid. If you can, or if it works out, you follow the kid all the way up through middle school, and you try to make a difference in their life. They support local causes, 5Ks, fundraising. The VA Center, they do a bunch of stuff with those. The Columbia guys and the F3 guys are big presence in the Oliver Gospel Mission. They link up with them and do a workout with people that are at the Olive Gospel Mission. Batesburg Group has a scholarship fund, and they support the VA and the warriors of veterans within the community. So I mean, it is so much
something for
more,
everybody. Yeah,
yeah, so much more than a workout.
yeah. And as I was, I didn't know about it until you mentioned it, but research. I mean, this is free for people,
absolutely,
to get involved with, and the point of it is it's an option as M-Day soldier, right, full-time soldier or whatever, but it's another outlet out there in the community with ties to the military at its beginning for you to get out there and work out. And this is the thing, and I actually had a problem with this because I came up as a sports person through my high school years, football, baseball, whatever, joined the military around 23. And sometimes it's hard for people not to work out when it's not group related.
Correct.
Because you do so much of that in the military.
Right.
It's hard to go in the gym by yourself or go on a quiet run. So having these types of options in the communities is a big deal.
Sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when I go to the gym, if I had a bad day, sometimes your workout's better, and sometimes you just show up and you're like, no one's there to hold you accountable, so then you just give up at some point.
And that accountability piece is so important. And there is trash talking on Twitter, and there is, hey, where you been? I moved in September. Several guys in F3 showed up at my house and helped me move. I mean, it's another network of people that can help you with your fitness goals and maintain that accountability, but also be there as a springboard for the problems of life, and battle buddies, if you will.
And I think that brings the interesting part around kind of back towards the service member family care, as far as fitness being kind of one piece of the puzzle related to everything that can kind of go into life. And that's really what service member family care kind of represents as a whole. But, y'all work together, piecing everything together. So somebody might come to you with physical issues, PT related stuff, but y'all are able to also get them involved in other services. How does that kind of process work? How y'all identify that and kind of do like the whole health care plan really for people as best as y'all can?
So a conversation can save a life. And so you're working out with someone who may, during the workout, may have mentioned that, well, I can't come here tomorrow because I'm going on another job interview because I haven't a job in 3 months. And so you connect them with employment services. Or maybe they tell you that they're struggling getting to workouts because they're having trouble at home. So maybe you find a behavioral health counselor you can tie them back into. Or they didn't get the benefits they're supposed to get when they came back from deployment, so you got a veterans advisor you can tie them with. So lots of things we can do inside the organization that ties them into the services they need just by having a conversation. A few years ago, I think around 2011 or 2012, I was in the Service Member and Family Care Directorate, and a young couple came in to get their ID card reset because he had just returned from deployment. As they're walking down the hall to get their ID card reset, they walked by the employment office. Both of them were unemployed. By that Friday, they were both working. So they had their ID cards taken, and they were both working someplace. I mean, that's the magic of the Service Member and Family Care, because there's so much connectivity in there. You don't know what services you're going to find. Next thing you know, you've taken care of 2 or 3 things. And it's not just for National Guardsmen. It's for any branch of service, any place across the state. They can walk in there. We may not have the service for them. We can connect them with the service they may need.
And maybe this podcast is a great outreach to inform the leadership out there, that the leaders that are providing these outlets or these different, that know the soldiers better than anybody, that can determine the path or what to give that soldier to assist with their problems. Right. Because I'll be the first to admit, when I got here in January of this year to Joint Force Headquarters, I had no idea the services. I mean, because I'm in the building with them now, I totally identify what the helpful services that the Guard provides. But I didn't know as a platoon sergeant, and I could have helped a lot of my soldiers, or at least provided them the pathway to get assistance. And I think that's key, is knowing where to turn. I mean, leaders are not going to know all the answers, but knowing this program's out there to help them.
Definitely. So kind of going back, specifically with talking about exercises and different programs that you can do, the hot topic lately is the new ACFT that's coming out. And a lot of people are nervous. A lot of people don't know what to expect. Some people have experienced the demos and
testing.
Like
the units testing and trialing it, and the handful of people have done it around Best Warrior and stuff.
Yeah. So is there any advice or things to help ease the soldiers' minds on what's coming for them?
If you're local to Columbia, come to the cage and just do a trial run through. I think a lot of people are just afraid of what they're going to do because the exercises are new. They don't go in the backyard and throw a 10-pound ball over their head. They don't get in the backyard and drag a 90-pound sled or try to carry some 40-pound kettlebells. They don't do those things. The leg tuck is very strenuous. And so I think people are just a little afraid of being embarrassed by going through the process. But it's much easier, or much better, I guess, to come out and get embarrassed by a demo, just you and a few people out there inside the cage, or your local units have started receiving equipment as well. So it's reaching out to them and just going through the process. Here at the cage we have here on Bluff Road, we encourage folks to come out and try all five of the events, but do it like at 50%. Just try to learn techniques and processes and what it feels like to do the hex bar deadlift, and try out see what it feels like to throw a 10-pound ball, and see what it feels like to try to drag maybe just a 40 or 50-pound sled, 50 meters total. And try to get used to the techniques involved with that. And the coaches are available to help you with the process and talk about proper technique and how things should look along the way. And then just like First Sergeant said about trying other things at home, dragging around a 50-pound bag of fertilizer, a couple of 5-gallon buckets of water, or if you've got a brand new baby, 6 or 8 pounds, you can maybe, carefully.
I was thinking the same thing.
So there's brick, and F3, we tie back into the F3 piece. They use bricks and blocks and telephone poles and sandbags and all sorts of very unique things out there to tie back into finding a fitness routine that works for you.
I might have an exercise program for them if I ever buy some land. We'll bring F3 out. There are all kinds of stuff they can exercise.
Yeah, we're all about that.
Right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I can't stress enough, too, the PRT app. I was blown away. I mean, it has links on there to YouTube videos because I went through back when we had level 1, level 2 certifications. I went through and that was the first time I had ever seen the ACFT, and now I'm going through it, and then the next day I'm administering it to somebody else, and it was not just the fitness part of it, but like he said, the technique. There's so much technique in this new test versus the APFT where you can pretty much just muscle through it.
Yeah, brute force.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
This one you can. Medicine ball throw. I failed my first test throw. That's the first time I ever threw it, but I'm like, that's the one thing I don't need to practice. I can throw a ball, right?
I've been doing this for a year or two.
And got up there, and I'm a combat engineer, so I was at the heavy level, and he was like, "Hey, yeah, you failed." And I'm like, "Wait, what?" So what do I got to have? And I was like, "I didn't get that." And he's like, "No." And then we went over some techniques during the test of swivel in your hips and the way you crash the ball. I mean, it's just the point of release. I mean, all that's technique. And if you don't practice that, if you don't go through that, it's not like the APFT where you can show up and your technique can maybe get a little better on the push up and sit up as you go, but and talk you through it. But ACFT is not like that. You're going to have to practice for it.
And our app also, the Train Heroic app, also has every exercise on there has a video tied to it. So you're not sure what that looks like. You just hit it and it pops up. A YouTube video shows up. You take a look at what the exercise looks like, and you're right back in the fight.
And I think it's important too to understand what you said is one thing I want all soldiers to keep in mind about the ACFT is remain flexible. Because up until 3 to 4 weeks ago, there were still being changes. The 2.0 was coming out. So maintain communication with your leadership. Don't be afraid to go ahead and start taking those steps to prepare. But don't, this is going to be it. This is a new program. The Army's learning, and they're doing trials, and they're learning as soldiers go through it, and it's constantly changing. But
we're at Frago 9 now. That's just how it's evolved.
Right. So just remain flexible and just don't say, well, they don't know what's going on yet, and I'm going to shut down. It's coming. There's going to be a version that you're going to have to pass at some point.
Right.
So
now they are giving us a diagnostic period, of course, with that. They gather information and stuff. So,
absolutely.
And we'll be actually putting out more information. We have a couple interviews and stuff to kind of go over that, the technical side of that. Cool. But I think the main part of all this is the fact that to letting the M-Day soldiers know that there's opportunity out there, that you're not alone in this. whether it's, the health and wellness folk or finding a relatable community-based workout group, something like F3 or the FIA for females, that's correct, or whatever. The point is to get involved, and if you lack direction, reach out to your leadership, reach out to service member family care and the health and wellness folks. That's what they've been put in place for. So, utilize it. There's no reason not to, and start looking forward to ACFT. And we do always push ACFT or whatever exercise test we have to do to pass to meet our standards for the military. But really, it's more than that. It's about a prolonged growth towards a healthier you.
Yes.
Both physically, mentally, emotionally. Is really what it is, because at some point in time your military career ends, and then you've got the next 20, 40, whatever years after that, and being able to interact, do, and go achieve things in your life past the military is just as important as achieving things while in the military.
Couldn't agree more. Roger.
Good deal. All right, gentlemen, I appreciate you stopping by and taking time out of your busy schedules. Hope to have y'all back and continue, because there is a lot more discussion to have about fitness and where we're headed from here and things like that.
Absolutely.
So
thank you for having us.
Yeah, enjoyed it. So for everybody watching and listening, make sure you like, subscribe, hit notification button, make comments below.
Yep, you hit it all.
And then what are we going to do?
We'll catch you in the next episode.
Thank you.